sus peleas de largas son las que musean tu deliciosa ciudad. Flores de amores te adornan su jardín. Eres la imagen del bello Edén. Zamboanga hermosa, preciosa perlita, orgullo de Mindanao. Flores de amores te adornan su jardín. Eres la imagen del bello Edén. Zamboanga hermosa, preciosa perlita, orgullo de Mindanao.
You may now take your seats, please. Buenos días, zamboangueños y todos los residentes y votantes que vota aquí na Zamboanga City. Bienvenidos and welcome to our live broadcast from the garden deck of Garden Orchid Hotel for Day 2 of Aserta Bota, Ako'y Matalino sa Aking Pagboto, the Local Candidates Forum 2022. Nakapisana ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas Zamboanga City chapter. Through its partners, he's the call of the people. Kayo po na nakikinig sa AM and FM radios, nanonood sa TV at cable, at sumusubaybay sa ating iba't ibang platforms ng social media ng ating mga KBP member stations at sa ating KBP Zamboanga Facebook page. Para lalong makilala ang mga kandidato na mabibigyan ng oportunidad at kapangyarihan, gawing mas maunlad ang ating syudad at baguhin ang buhay ninyo at ng inyong pamilya. We invite you to listen, understand, and eventually choose who you believe would be the best and most qualified for the. We presented the candidates running for the 1st and 2nd districts of Zamboanga City. Today, we will be getting to know more about the mayoral candidates through their answers, which have been a product of deep and extensive research, conversations with the ordinary Zamboangueños. So, without further ado, let us now get to know our candidates for today. Representing the United Nationalist Alliance, Mr. Romel Samonte Agan. Representing Partido Federal ng Pilipinas, Barahama Abubakar Ismail. He was given an invitation but declined to attend. Independent candidate, Mr. Cesar Floreta Climaco. People's Reform Party Representative John Mendoza Dalipe was also extended an invitation but declined to attend. So with Kilusan Bagong Lipunan Representative Efrain Samuy Ekong. Present today is independent candidate Karim Bajin Ismail. Representing the Nationalist People's Coalition, Mr. Cesar Ledesma Jimenez Jr. And of course, representing Laban ng Demokratikong Pilipino, Mr. Celso Lorenzo Lobregat. Once again, a warm round of applause for our candidates present with us this morning. Thank you, candidates. You may now take your seats. Of course, we wouldn't want to waste any time, so let's start with our opening salvo question for this morning. And the order by which the question shall be answered has already been predetermined by a draw of lots earlier today. So the first candidate to answer our question will be Mr. Agan. Sir, this is actually a two-part question, but the timer will start only once you answer the second question. You will be given 2 minutes. For the first part of the question is only 1 or 2 words. The second part will be timed for 2 minutes. So, sir, when we say your name in 1 word, what should we expect? So when we say your name in 1 word, what should we expect? Sa Tagalog po, sa pamamagitan po ng isang salita, maaari niyo po bang ibahagi kung ano po ang aming maaasahan kapag binanggit ang inyong pangalan in 1 word?
Honest government.
Thank you very much. This is the question where you will be timed for 2 minutes. Name 3 most important things that you will do if elected mayor of Zamboanga. Maaari po ba silang magbigay ng 3 pinakamahalagang gawain na uunahin po nila sakaling mahalal bilang mayor ng Zamboanga? Timer starts now.
Aside from security, which is already a given, among our priorities under the Agan administration will be improved health services. We saw the need. Nakita natin, Yamira kita, Tiempo, Alto El Caso del COVID, manada pasyente, yung pila na emergency room del mga ospital. Tas pera, mambakante kwarto na COVID ward. El otro, mientras ta espera, ya despidi. So nisisita, tiene otro city-run hospital aquí na Pueblo. That will address the medical needs of our poor constituents. Infrastructure project implementation localized, build. Makasayang, sabi, Chenebes, el programmed activities, projects for a year, hindi ta-implementa todo. Tansayang nyo. Government has the money, it should be fully utilized. With infrastructure in place, it's not hard to invite investors to come in. Localized, build. Quality structures kay si Agan hindi tangkwapit. Priority in education. I believe we should give our young the means to be competitive not only against other cities in the Philippines, but against the rest of the world. We should give incentive to our senior high school students to make studying easier for them. My daughter was a scholar in Philippine Science High School. They were given tablets for their schooling. Those are among the top 3 in our priorities under the Agan administration. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Agan. Now we shall hear from Mr. Cesar Climaco. Once again, when we say your name in 1 word, what should we expect?
Mayor!
Thank you very much. And name 3 most important things that you will do if elected mayor of Zamboanga.
1. Solve the problems of the city. 2. No SOP, no 10%, no whatever they call it. No corruption. Number 3. I would like Zamboanga City to be Orgullo de Mindanao. Right now, we are not Orgullo de Mindanao. Maybe we should focus on places that are city-states like Singapore. See what they did right. Focus on other progressive areas like Israel. They have a surplus of water in the desert. Why? Here we have two things that are bad according to the businessmen. No electricity, no water. So solve these two problems. That will be my goal. Essentially, how can we solve electricity? There are many ways, not just oil or coal. Wave generation for electricity should be studied. Multiple small dams for electricity, hydroelectric. Multiple small dams, maybe 100, 200, 300 small dams. 1 hectare, 2 hectares, 10 hectares. For water conservation. That will recharge our aquifers. Health. We are in a so-called pandemic. Sunlight would have prevented this whole pandemic. Anybody with 30 nanograms of vitamin D will not get sick. They will have asymptomatic. So, our population is sick because of lack of sunlight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we would like to hear from Karim Ismail. Again, when we say your name in one word, what should we expect?
Kung ako ang tatawagin, isa akong ulap. Minsan nakapagbibigay ng
Thank you, sir. Now, please name 3 most important things that you will do if elected mayor of Zamboanga. Maaari po bang silang magbigay ng 3 pinakamahalagang gawain na uunahin po nila sakaling mahalal bilang mayor ng Zamboanga?
ang Zamboanga ay tinatawag na jambangan o ang Zamboanga tinatawag na halaman. Ang Zamboanga ay isang pinakamatatag dito sa Mindanao. Dito nabuksan ang barter pero napag-iwanan na tayo. Ang gagawin po natin dito makipagtulungan. Lalo-lalo na sa mga nakakataas. Manalo man ako o matalo, handang tumulong sa inyo. Why? Ang manggagawa dito sa Zamboanga, ang sahod nila ay 316 lamang. Samantala yung iba hindi pa umaabot ng ganun halaga na minimum wage, 316. So how can you resist to stay here longer in Zamboanga? Even we are here in the sources of commodity or mga isda, pero ang mahal ng bilihin. Panawagan ko sa ating mga namumuno at sa maglilingkod dito sa ating mamamayan, makipagtulungan tayo sa isa't isa para ang isa't isa ay giginhawa. So kailan yun ma-achieve natin ang ganon? Dapat tayong magtulungan. Ang isa sa atin, sumunod sa batas para maging maayos ang lahat. Sa simple instruction, dapat tayo sumunod. Kahit nasa taasan tayo, kung nandun tayo sa sitwasyon na sila ang obligado, dapat din tayo masunod doon. Inshallah, makakamit natin ang lahat ng anuman adhikain natin kung tayo ay susunod sa anumang antas, anong paraan, sa anong lipunan. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ismail. Now we shall listen to Mr. Jabo Jimenez. When we say your name in one word, what should we expect?
Ayuda.
Muchas gracias. Now please name the 3 most important things you will do if elected mayor of Zamboanga City.
Ay continua kita, el ayuda y aumenta pa. Numero 1, el daton mga social programs, como el libre educación na ciudad de Zamboanga, free tuition fee in college, na high school, todo nisisita ang mga bata diaton, from their uniforms to bags to school supplies, ay dali kita, in elementarya si kita feeding program. Infrastructure. Sir kaya kaba diaton bypass road, 90 to 90%, 95% ay kabayaste. El nisisita kita sa aura, konekta diaton bypass road na diaton existing national highway, pasando na mga kamino na mga barangay. Ika-3, ay utilities. It is my dream, como un tata, todo pamilya na Zamboanga, todo casa diaton, abri kita al gripo, sale, potable, agua. Principiando na Distrito 2, si mira kita sitwasyon, Tetuan, all the way to Arena Blanco, no hay agua potable, tasale na gripo diaton. Ya pwede que statse asa na Distrito 1, asa taming kita na Distrito 2. El social programs di aton bien importante. El COVID will affect us in the next 3 to 5 years. China again is locking down. Si hindi kita prepara, ay prepara kita para perder na pelea kontra COVID. Nisisita kita ayuda con mga bebientes di aton. El housing is an aspect que necesita kita ayuda. Ya puede kita levantar cerca 500 casa na ayuda del gobierno nacional y gobierno local. Y na labuan, el casa ay dalia con mga vivientes libre. Hasta el chera ay dali kita libre. Ya puede kita aumenta pa kita el programa na otro lugar. Libre curada. Libre curada, especialmente para con el mga senior citizen di aton. Onde dali kita, continua kita el largo vida program, aumenta pa kanila el cash assistance. Nisisita kita ayuda con mga vivientes di aton. Kay si Aura, Chene ta enferma, daan niya no'y laman el bolsa, si Chene pa ta enferma, agweraw ya el bolsa del pamilya na Zamboanga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jimenez. Let us now listen to Mr. Celso Lombregat. When we say your name, sir, in one word, what should we expect?
Tried and tested and can be trusted. Subuk at nasubukan na at pwedeng pagkatiwalaan.
Thank you, sir. And kindly name the 3 most important things that you will do if elected mayor of Zamboanga.
We have a social contract with the people of Zamboanga if elected. There are 8 platforms and 22 action plans. The first one is health. Health is wealth. We have to address the pandemic situation scientifically complete with relevant facts and figures and accurate data. We have to have a holistic approach to the health issues of Zamboanga City. We have to make sure that we deliver the health services. We make sure that medicines are available. We make sure that doctors are more doctors. While, number 2, while we implement the health protocols, we have to balance this with economic empowerment. We have to make sure that we stimulate and jumpstart the economy. We have to make sure that we address the issues of employment and non-employment of the small and medium-scale businesses, and also give incentives. Then the third one is youth and education. My advocacy has always been to empower the youth through access and assistance to quality education. Aside from the youth, we also have among them the basic services, meaning to say we have to give some CELCO the maximum support. We have to make sure that there is a base load power plant in Zamboanga City. We also have to give the water district all the help that they can need. And we also have to have a fast and reliable internet and Wi-Fi system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the first round. First round pa lang. Okay? And we still have more to come. And I'm sure a lot of you are excited to listen to more of their answers in the coming minutes. But at this point in time, we would now like to formally open today's forum by listening to the welcome remarks of our chapter chairman of the Kapisanan ng mga Broadcasters ng Pilipinas, Zamboanga City Chapter, and the president of E-Media Broadcasting, Mr. Belsi Agustin.
Thank you, Vice Chair Eric. As we are speaking right now, we are coming to you live via 17 active KBP radio, both AM and FM stations, digital terrestrial, at talang na sila e-box, 3 TV stations, Media, TV 11, and as well as IBC 13, and other stations, of course, na hindi sila active, I would not like to mention. We are covering to you live via our KBP page. Please, akal mga tali-aura, kentamira ka namon, pabor man share para kay este para just ustedes. We are also being covered by our online broadcast IT provider, El Atun Gold Life Productions. Of course, we invited Zamboanga Times, Zamboanga Today. I think Roel Pareñas around will also cover from the Philippine Star. This two-day momentous occasion fulfills a very noble purpose for KBP in fulfilling its second out of 10 missions and role as a local chapter to advocate political maturity, social economic reforms, and environmental concerns. But while we wanted to do this, last year pa kami naman conceptualize, we also wanted to preserve sanctity and integrity. That's the reason we partnered with Mr. Jovi Ilagan, El Presidente del Jadi Production. Sir Job, saan ka na? Can I see a show of hands lang? Konti. Maraming salamat. Okay. He came over in a church setup. That was February. We started talking. Sabi ko, amoy na amoy ko yung dollar mo. He came over from USA. And then he started asking, kumusta yung political landscape ng Zamboanga? How are the behaviors of Zamboangueño towards the local politicians? Sabi ko, well, ganun pa rin. Bandwagon, blah, 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 blah. Sabi niya, I think you need to have a forum. Sabi ko, yes, we really wanted to have one. But the problem is the integrity issue. That's perhaps the reason why National KBP were conceptualizing on second presidential forum but did not materialize until last night. So they ended up, having it as an interview type. Pero naunahan tayo, Sir John, nakauna na tayo, kumbaga. So sabi niya, Ablale, we want to have a forum. Sabi ko, are you willing to partner? Because Joby is an ordinary citizen doing all these events since 1988. We've been working together, and I know his credentials. Sabi ko, if you're willing to do it with us for free, then you are the missing piece. Sabi niya, let's go. So, ito na. That's why we are here right now. Maraming salamat, Jadi Production. But sabi ko, we have to present it first sa KBP in our next meeting. With this, I'd like to take opportunity to thank the fellow KBP Zamboanga officers. Can I ask you to stand right now? Unanimous eldest decision del KBP. Please stand up, all KBP officers around. Please, to be recognized. Maraming salamat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd also like to take this opportunity, COMELEC, for your guidance, and of course, accreditation dito sa forum na to. Our panelists and sectoral representatives, for spending with us your 2 days, your precious time. I know you are busy, but we really appreciate this. Vista de Lente, our lead wall provider. Albre Advertising Corporation for our advertising collaterals. Okay, maraming salamat. Queen's Laundry, our dry clean specialist for logistical support. And of course, our Kobe Sound System, Gold Live, Broadcast, IT, all joined for this one noble cause, again, for free. And Garden Orchid Hotel for this very convenient venue. To our distinguished and very able candidates, I wish they are all here, one of which in those seats will be elected as the mayor. Por eso yan, courtesy ko kita todo con el 4, kaya no sabi kita kinga na. Thank you for showing up. Your presence today is a manifestation of your leadership, courage, and respect to the organizers. Thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. This will be a discussion where we can learn about and evaluate your qualifications, personal convictions as you seek for the highest position in Zamboanga City. Lastly, ustedes, tamira ka na mun aura, tali na TV, tali na Facebook, tauwi na radyo, para de ustedes este. Acerta kita bota, time and again, pirmi kita tabla o tareklama ustedes. We deserve the government we elect. Este el tiempo para mira ustedes. Ken bagat naman deserve? Yabla si Joby Endenantes, after looking at watching forums in Manila, ya cambia decision para na presidential. We would expect the same. Perhaps after this, you might change your decision. Or, especially those who are undecided right now, kay todos te able, as I have said. Siguro kita di ato notion na debe entre pamilya ta sapa tan sentimiento, taman unfriend kon el mga barkada because of political divisions and aspirations. Taman black, the worst, di ba? So debe siguro hindi na kita gindalya. Evalua, piskisa, scrutina uno por uno. Sinisisita resa, porque hindi. Kilatisin nyo. Sila, isa-isa. We are electing our future. Sitting in front, looking at their faces, I see them as our future. This is our future. And that will define what will happen 3 years after May 9. Thank you very much. Alam ko, kayo ay matalino sa inyong pagboto. First round pa lang kita, sinaboxing, ayar, wild card. Today is the wildest card. First round pa lang kayo, tiyan pa, may 11 rounds pa, no? Although we only have 6 questions. Thank you, and without much further ado, welcome to the Mayoralty Candidates Forum.
Thank you very much, Chairman Belsi, for that wonderful welcome. As he mentioned, more or less 20 active KBP members now streaming this forum. No other organization can give you this kind of exposure. So, congratulations to our candidates who are now maximizing this exposure. At this point in time, we would by the way, would also like to encourage healthy discussion among our viewers. So please do comment. Please do express your opinions in the comment section of our Facebook page. At this point in time, we would like to introduce to you the member of our panel. First is the Provincial Director of the Department of Trade and Industry, Zamboanga City Office. We'd like to welcome Ms. Grace de la Cruz Aduca. Second is the President of the IBP Zambazulta Chapter. She is also currently the Commissioner for the Commission on Bar Discipline and recently elected as Vice Chairman for External Affairs, Regional Advisory Group of the Police Regional Office 9, and has now been practicing for 10 years as partner of Sales Lavista and Lavista Law Firm. Please welcome Attorney Honorisa Cristel Lavista. Our third member of the panel is currently a member of the Task Force Duterte Zamboanga City Power Board of Director of Zamboanga City Electric Cooperative. He is a member of the Board of Directors of Zamboanga City Special Economic Zone Authority. He is the Chairman and Infrastructure Committee of the Regional Development Council Region 9 from 2016 to 2019 and has been re-elected for another term, serving from 2019 to 2022. And currently the President and member of the Board of Directors of the Zamboanga Chamber of Commerce and Industry Foundation, Incorporated. Let's welcome Attorney Carl Andrew M. Rubio. Of course, we'd like to acknowledge once again the presence of our very important partners in this forum, our sectoral representatives. We'd like to recognize Ms. Julia Tigo of the Federation of Zamboanga City Civil Society Organizations, Ms. Raquel Olivio of the Women's Sector, she's not around, Mr. Alberto Dizon of the Farmers Sector, Mr. Kerwin Serrano of the Persons with Disabilities Sector, they were with us yesterday also, Ms. Janet Ko of the Vendor Sector, Mr. Nasir Ismula of the Indigenous People Sector, and Ms. Lourdes Mangawang of the Senior Citizen Sector. Thank you all very much for being here with us today. Of course, our COMELEC representatives, Attorney Stephen Roy Cañete. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. And together with him is Mr. Oliver Alar. Thank you very much as well. Once again, Mr. Belsi Agustin and the officers of the KBP Zamboanga Chapter, Mr. Job Ilagan, President of Jadi Production, and of course our sponsors, Garden Orchid Hotel for our wonderful venue yesterday and today, Gold Life Productions, our online broadcast provider, Queen Laundry, our dry clean specialist for our logistics, Albury Advertising Corporation, Vista de Lente for our LED wall setup, and Kobe Sound System. Thank you all very much for your generous support. Before we start once again with our question and answer segment, we would just like to reiterate our guidelines and mechanics which will govern today's forum. The candidates and panels will not receive nor have a prior knowledge of the questions to be asked in the forum. The panel will be briefed minutes before the forum starts to ensure a clean, unbiased system. Participants are not allowed to bring cell phones and cheat sheets or código with them or to consult with their staff while the forum is going on. This is to show the audience, which consists of representatives from different sectors, that the candidate is knowledgeable and has a clear understanding of his or her platform. A pen and paper will be provided by the event staff for note-taking. The participants will be seated in alphabetical order, and 1 hour before the event starts, one representative for each participant will be called to draw lots, and whoever gets the first number will answer the first question. The person seated to the left of that participant will automatically be the first to answer the second question, and the person on his left will then be the first to answer the third question, and so on. This system of answering will go on for the duration of the event to ensure that all candidates are given chances to be the first ones to answer. Each candidate is then given 120 seconds or 2 minutes of uninterrupted time to answer a question. In the last 10 seconds, the candidates will hear the sound of a bell once. Can we hear that? And when the time is up, the bell will sound twice. No one is allowed to rebut, react, or give a comment for or against what a candidate has said. Once a candidate is done speaking, the forum will proceed peacefully without cheers or chants from the audience. For the entirety of the event, it will be conducted with utmost respect for humanity and office of governance. Any form of bullying, name-calling, bias, and maltreatment will not be tolerated. First offense will get a warning, and a second violation will mean ejection from the venue. And today, ladies and gentlemen, is slightly different from yesterday's forum because we will be having, aside from the sectoral questions that have been submitted, there will be 3 major questions. So to continue with the question and answer segment, we will now have our second question, which will be drawn by our panelists.
Good morning, gentlemen. Here's your question. Urban Poor is a project for the poor, so that when their homes are demolished, the government should have a place to resettle them. But the reality is, many of the supposedly poor fail to avail the project, and yet there are those who are connected would seem to enjoy prioritized slots in this program. So if elected, how will you address this problem? In Tagalog, ang Urban Poor po ay isang proyekto para sa mahihirap na nagbibigay sana ng kasiguraduhan sa mga pamilya na kung ang kanilang mga tahanan ay mawasak, ay may maglalaan ng gobyerno ng lugar kung saan sila maaring lumipat. Ngunit ang katotohanan ay marami sa mga tunay na mahihirap at naghihikahos ng mga pamilya ang hindi nakakakuha ng tirahan sa programang ito. At kung kayo ay mabibigyan ng pagkakataon, paano nyo po malulutas ang ganitong problema?
First to answer this question, and will be given 2 minutes to answer, is Mr. Cesar Climaco.
Good morning. The way I see it, your question revolves more on corruption. Why some of the poor do not get their lots and houses, and sometimes somebody who is not poor gets their share. So the important thing is remove corruption from all these government handouts. Very simple. Have government handouts of lots and houses, maybe by raffle, and not by pool, or they know somebody in government who will give them an unfair opportunity. Many times, they are given house and lot in Talisayan or Kabaluay, so they don't want to also go that far for their house and lots. So maybe government, when they want to help the poor, maybe if they want to give them in Kabaluay, have transportation available. Not just give them a house there and they cannot go to work. There are a lot of vacant lots I can see in Kabaluay, Kulyanan, which are not too expensive. So, one, give them a house and lot to the urban poor. Second, transportation. So, remove the corruption. And I know that DAR, Department of Agriculture Reform, has done that to us. And they gave it to their friends, the lots. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Climaco. Let us now listen to Mr. Karim Ismail.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala at magandang tanghali sa kababayan ko mga Kristiyano. Ang isang namumuno, dapat tulungan niya ang mamamayan at ang mamamayan na ang magtulong sa bayan. Opo, hindi lang nakikita, nararamdaman natin ang mga mahihirap ay lalong naghihirap. Why? Kasi nakita natin yung paggawaan dati ng mga bahay, nilagyan na ng bahay, pero ang naging problema, hindi pa na akyatan ang bahay o hindi pa na pinoproblema na ng tagbahay yung mga hagdan nila o yung mga nila sa bahay, namumroblema sila. So how comes kung ilalagay natin sila sa mga lupa, katulad ng Kabaluay, pero ang naging problema, ang tanong ng mga kababayan natin, paano kami ilalagay doon walang kabuhayan? So katulad ng sinabi ko dati, kung isi-separate natin yung iba o gagamitin natin yung mga espasyo natin, na dalhin doon ang mga palengke, dalhin doon yung mga ibang sektor ng mga opisina para hindi ma-congestion dito sa sa city. If I'm not mistaken, pang-apat ata tayo sa pinakamalaking lupain or city dito sa Zamboanga, pero yan ang nagiging problema. Sa mga katulad natin, sa mga leader, God's will na sana magtutulungan tayo. Yung hindi na tayo magiging problema sa ating bayan. Kung may ma-share tayo, hindi natin iasa sa government o sa umuupo. Umasa rin tayo sa ating sarili. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ismail. We shall now listen to the answer of Mr. Jabo Jimenez.
Debe sabia kita, ko sa pamilya, ko sa lugar, kinisisita kita man relocate. Para sabi kita, kay este pamilya, mga verdadero, pobre pamilya na Zamboanga. El una ali, nisisita kita man relocate kun el mga pamilya, kita na Costao del Rio. Si Jenny sila Zen, hindi sila lebanta dila mga kasa na Costao del Rio, hindi dila terreno, ibendilikaw pa sila, si Tasubil Agua na Rio. El otro pamilya, kinisisita kita liba, para na daton relocation site, amol mga pamilya ta esta na mga danger zones. Imana da este, danger zones como prone area para man na landslide, danger zones como un rato lang ulan, alto el agua, tanbaha, ita estal mga pamilya, hindi di ilaltsera. Y también el importante ali, el diaton mga informal settlers como na sentro del pueblo. Nisisita kita man relocate kanila na mga relocation areas diaton. Este mga informal settlers diaton, we are now already 2022. As early as 2005, 2010, the data show, el datos tabla kanaton, at least 80,000 to 100,000 families have to be relocated. Pero ahora 2022 ya kita, almost double if not triple ya el mga pamilya nisisita kita reloka. Having identified the families, the real poor families que necesita kita man relocate, el cosa es el gobyerno lokal, como el diaton Talisayan Resettlement Area, hindi lang kita kanila man raffle, dalechera, manda kanila paga on a monthly basis, But what do we do to encourage kung ang pamilya hindi masali ng mga resettlement area? Number one, give them free houses. Dali kanila casa libre. También dali kanila elchera libre. We can do it. It is about time we give these things to our poor people in Zamboanga City para hindi masila sali ng mga resettlement area kaya prepara ang gobyerno lokal kanila.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jimenez. We shall now listen to Mr. Celso Lobregat.
No. Okay. Included in our 8 platforms and 22 action plans under social inclusion is a program for assistance to the marginalized sector. One of the marginalized sectors is the urban poor. I can tell you, I will do what I did when I was mayor, and I will do much more. An example, it was during my time that we developed the biggest city resettlement site, Tulungatum. It was during my time that we developed Ascuna in the East Coast. Actually, when I have been going around with my pulong-pulongs to the different urban poor areas, I really felt sad. Up to now, the areas of the C3R affected by the Zamboanga siege have no water, have no electricity. That is one thing that I will prioritize. They have been collected 6,500, but where is the water? Where is the electricity? I will also make sure that we give the needed infrastructure. I have been going around community-based areas. They have no roads. They have no drainage. It is muddy. You can hardly walk. I will partner with DSWD and make sure that our CSWD gives the needed assistance to the urban poor. They have suffered long enough, so it is time that we give them what they deserve. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. We shall now listen to Attorney Romel Agan.
One of the concerns of the housing sector, the urban poor, is the lack of resettlement areas. I am happy that during the Climaco administration, I took part as a member of the panel of negotiators in acquiring new lands where the informal settlers can be accommodated. Under the Agan administration, in the same way that Mayor Agan purchased before the Ascuna property, my administration will continue to land bank. Purchase properties to accommodate the backlog. And if there are no willing property owners to sell at government price, it is high time that political will must be exercised and make use of the powers of government, expropriate, so that we can buy more land to accommodate the informal settlers. Priority should be given to those in danger zones. And transparency should be exercised in the grant and in the choice of the beneficiaries. What is important is that we acquire the lands now while they are cheaper. The longer we delay, the prices of lands go up. If there are no willing owners, again, maybe under the Agan administration, ara lang uli man exercise a right of eminent domain. That should be done to be able to acquire more. I feel for the informal settlers. For the longest time, some may kumpra, chera, or ara lang uli, tiyempo di Mayor Beng. And I was part of that exercise. I contributed. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Attorney Meng Agan. That ends our round for the second question. We shall now request our panelists to draw and read the third question.
Good morning, gentlemen. The question for all of you is, when we hear of problems on garbage and traffic, we often hear solutions like the need to further improve our programs on cleanliness and garbage collection, to pursue road widening, diversionary roads, and all other infrastructure. However, we rarely hear about the other more obvious reason why we have this.
Kita ko neste mag-convert into renewable energy. Ta pwede ko neste usa para kriya elektrisidad. Manade negosyante, kere entra, kere pruba, it's about time we allow them. Hindi mas kaya el mga barangay el kolekta el mga basura. Nagrandor dal daton mga barangay, como talon-talon, tienes 30,000 populasyon, igual sa un syudad na otro lugar. Hindi mas kaya el barangay as el trabajo. El OCNR también diaton, bien menos siya el personnel para kolekta el basura. Entra el mga private corporations, mga contractor, kolekta sila el basura, liba sila el basura na lugar onde sila pwede convertir para electricity. We should allow it. Kaya araw tamira kita sitwasyon. El basura, mas takita mucho, well, that is expected because of the growing population in Zamboanga City. And of course, el disiplina. El disiplina que mas antes pa tabla kita na koleksyon del basura debe, tas aparta kita el cosa tan bulok, el cosa hindi tan bulok. Y hasta ahora, unfortunately, menos el cooperación del daton pueblo zamboangueño. It's about time we instill that discipline because at the end of the day, el beneficia, kita siempre, pueblo zamboangueño, si bueno el sistema del colección de basura, lejos siya kita na enfermedad. Kaya sabi kita, el basura, amo tamin sa kontribuhi na sitwasyon del salud na enfermedad na syudad de Zamboanga.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Jimenez. We shall now have the response of Mr. Celso Lobregat.
If elected mayor, I will lead by example and act with a sense of urgency. I have been known, my administration has been known for its political will. If you recall, before the widening of the Baliwasan Chico Suterbil Road, a two-lane road, they said it was impossible to do. But it was done. I personally even talked to the owners of the land because they did not want to sell. When I was mayor, I lost many friends. Why? Because I was strict in the implementation of the parking requirements and the easement requirements. I remember when the malls started to come, they had their plans, and I said, you will have to change your plans because you don't have a parking area. In fact, one of the malls is very thankful for me now because of me, they had to revise their plans and do their underground parking. Actually, there are so many things that can be done if you now have political will to do it. And I have shown that with political will, you can instill discipline. Discipline is very, very important. But again, explain to the people the need, why they have to comply. So again, I will govern, but I will govern with compassion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lobregat. We shall now have the response of Attorney Meng Agan.
I agree that with respect to the concerns on garbage collection and traffic, discipline is very important. But before we can strictly enforce our laws, it is important that we be aggressive in educating our households and our drivers. Aggressive information dissemination, education, so that they will know what rules to follow. After the aggressive information dissemination and educating them, then we can strictly implement the law. One of the issues on traffic is el mga motor vehikulo takidamas manada, el camino igualang siyempre. For the longest time, the last road we had was Agan Avenue. Thankfully, under Climaco administration, I took part in opening the new road from Camins to Governor Ramos. We have to address that. Continue opening roads because takidamas manadal behikulo debe aumenta tamen el camino. On garbage collection, after informing them what the law is, strictly implement the rule on segregation at source so that what garbage we bring to our sanitary landfill, akelang kosa nisita leba alya. If you will not segregate at source, I will not collect your garbage. That should be political will. My record has shown I don't mind losing votes by implementing the law. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Attorney Agan. We shall now listen to Mr. Cesar Climaco.
Buenas días con todo. Aquí, tiene problema. Garbage collection, traffic. Garbage collection, pasi lang. Garbage collection, very easy. Say, you offer the people to collect the garbage, say 2 pesos per kilo, most likely the place will be clean. People who have no jobs may collect the garbage. Privatization of the garbage collection will improve the garbage collection. Number 2, discipline. Marcos had a martial law to make the Filipinos disciplined. It did not work. Now, Dipolog, I was told, is very clean. People do not throw garbage in the streets. So why is Zamboanga like that? I do not know why. The other thing is that many of my fellow candidates have been in power for so long. Now, they're going to impose discipline and garbage and better roads. I don't know. But for me, I agree with Mel Agan. Better roads, bigger roads, political will, discipline. Now, for the drivers who violate the law by doing whatever they are not supposed to do, send them back to school before they get their driver's license back. Send them to learn rules of the road. I drive to Vitali and you see drivers running on the yellow, overtaking the yellow line. That should not be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Climaco. And that ends our round for our third question. And before we proceed with the fourth question, we would like to encourage everybody to please share the KBP Facebook page live feed and refrain from having your own live feed from the venue today, which is actually strictly prohibited based on our guidelines. Thank you very much. So now we would like to request our panelists to please draw our fourth question for our mayoral candidates.
Good morning, gentlemen. Your question is utilities, blackouts, water rationing, slow internet. If you are elected mayor, which would you solve first and how?
First to answer this question will be Mr. Jawo Jimenez.
Sorry. In Tagalog,
Okay.
Kung kayo po ang nahalal bilang mayor, alin sa mga problema sa utilities tulad ng blackouts, water rationing at slow internet ang inyong unang lulutasin at paano niyo po ito gagawin?
Tubig. Una kita arreglar problema na potable agua. It is my dream como untata, como tablayo na Distrito 2, onde mga casa di aton, abril gripo, tasale, potable agua. Ya pwede kita stay as na Distrito 1. Fortunately, Prime Water came in when I was a city councilor. We supported the project and we acted immediately on the request for a resolution of no objection. Por eso ahora ya pwede lebanta, LD ila planta alya na pamukutan, onde ta pwede dali agua con el Costa Oeste, including some parts na ciudad de Zamboanga di ato na centro del pueblo. Este una kita ase. El agua ayuda ka naton na problema di ato na salud, como con el COVID-19. Importante, ta pwede baña imbunamente, ta pwede lavamano, el dato mga bibientes kontra COVID-19. El bañada también de familia, leos kita na enfermedad, grande que este ayuda. We are not saying, kasi arregla kita al agua, dehe kita concern di ato na Wi-Fi. This is very important also. Ta sucede ahora mga bibientes kanaton, mga bata na kolehiyo, they cannot afford mobile data. 50 pesos for 3 days, they cannot afford it. Siya to ng mga leos-leos barangay, ang mga bata, tan nadalasukan, tan buskahan, onde cheni signal. It is about time. Como nuevo lang, yung kwento si Mambeng, el gobyerno lokal, con el Globe Telecom, para man-improve el dila serbisyo. And how are we going to do it? El gobyerno lokal di aton, as el infrastructure, como levantar mga kamino, ayuda ko ng mga telecommunications, kosa pa sila infrastruktura necesita para mas improve el dila sistema. El brownout, el blackout, partially pwede kita man solve. I'm happy to announce the first document supporting the investment management contract came from the City Council and I supported it. And now, masking pakilaya, pwede kita habla, yan improve ya el diaton samselco.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Jimenez. We shall now listen to Mr. Celso Lobregat.
Again, I'm very happy for that question because all the three, water, electricity, and internet, are in our 8 platforms and 22 action plans. But your question is, what will I solve first? It is electricity. Why? If there is no electricity, there is no internet, no Wi-Fi. If there is no electricity, many water pumps will not operate. In fact, 20% or more than 20% of water districts' water comes from underground wells, which need electricity. I have not been elected mayor yet, but I have already talked to Mr. Mikey Romero of Crown. I have talked to the Alcantaras, because if I am elected mayor, I plan to call immediately for a summit of all stakeholders in the electricity, because the Zamboanga market is there. It is big. All of them can come together and help Zamboanga. Forget about advantages, and they have agreed. Mr. Mikey Romero said it's a nice idea. The Alcantares said they will do it. Again, it is very important that we support a baseload power plant in Zamboanga because we're at the end of the transmission line. We will support renewable energy, and also in my notes, aside from what you call it, we have to give maximum support to Samselco to reduce their systems loss. For every 1% systems loss, Samselco is losing 3 to 4 million. They are now 9% over the allowed systems loss. The 9 times 4 is 35, 36 million.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Lobregat. We shall now move on to Attorney Meng Agan.
Inconvenient si Ma'am Brownout. Inconvenient si Noy Data. Pero malisud, Bibi, Noy Agua. Agua es vida. I will give, among the 3 utilities, I will give priority to helping the concerns na water. electricity talia, chenia investor, chenia capital. Telecommunications, big time tamense sila. But our water district needs all the help right now to be able to provide potable water afuera. Before the pandemic, I have been in talks with interested investors in Manila willing to partner with our water district para pwede dale agua na mas manadahente. Makahuya ka naton, highly urbanized city, pero alilang apiki no ay agua, baho el pressure. That should be addressed. Because by giving water to the people, we are helping them alleviate the misery. Imagine how much they spend compra bidon-bidon de agua. Pero si El Agua, Staba, no Water District, mas barato. Our local government has started it. We have provided 80 million under the Climaco administration as assistance to the water district to address el problema na tubo. You can see it around. New pipe laying of bigger pipes to address the problem of non-revenue water, to address the leakages. With this, we can provide water more outside on the savings. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Attorney Meng. And we shall now listen to Mr. Cesar Climaco.
Good morning again. The question is, what would you do first? Blackout, water rationing, slow internet. Three things. Well, blackout. I talked to many businessmen, and it seems to be that when we have a monopoly, it is run inefficiently. Our Samselco is a monopoly, and they lose money every month. Who cares? It's not their money. Water district is losing money every month. Who cares? So, privatize Samselco, privatize our water district. And maybe implement competition. Say for one place, or anybody can produce electricity, anybody can deliver water, and privatization. Government is not the solution to your problems, according to Reagan. Government is the problem. And the problem is monopoly. So if there's competition, most likely our water problem, our electrical problem, and our internet problem will not be there. So government is not the solution to your problems. And I know many of my friends here have been in government for years. I have not been in government, but I will solve the problems of the city by information and knowledge. And I would ask anybody here, has anybody seen the contract with Prime Water? It's onerous, like Duterte said, onerous contract. But nobody ready.
Thank you very much, Mr. Climaco. Mr. Karim Ismail, it is now your turn.
Tubig, kuryente, internet. Minsan kasi kapag nagpo-problema yan, parang mahirap na nating isolba. Kasi parang isang typhoon yan kapag ang tubig ay nasira. Walang nag-ano dyan. Hindi natin hawak kung ano ang masira tulad ng ilaw at saka ng internet. Pero katulad natin mga mamamayan, kinakailangan natin i-voice out din ang kalagayan ng mamamayan. Unang-una ang sistema dito. Tingnan niyo po yung mga mamahirap for yung nagdaan na taon. Nilagyan na ng bahay, hindi pa nilagyan ng kuryente, hindi pa nilagyan ng tubig. So papaano ka mag-i-stay sa isang lugar na yan kung walang ganon? Walang kuryente, walang tubig. Binigyan na ng pera, nawala. Sana binigay na diretso sa kuryente, pinalagyan na ng kuryente, pinalagyan na ng tubig para hindi maging problema. So ngayon, sino ang sisisihin ng mga tao? Yung gobyerno lokal. Kasi sabi nila, hindi kami pinalagyan ng tubig, hindi ano. Pero ang naging problema doon, yung sistema. Kung may maitutulong man tayo, tulad ng pagkukuhanan ng tubig, kulang tayo sa sources. Paano kaya kung maglagay tayo ng mga 2, 3, katulad ng brownout, talagang ang brownout nandyan na. Pero isa lang ang sources natin. Paano kapag maghanda tayo ng genset? Sa internet naman, bilang nakakataas, gagawan natin ng paraan para mababa ang singil ng internet. Salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ismail. And that ends our round for the fourth question for today. And we shall now proceed right away to the fifth and final question for this forum. May I request our panelists to please read the question.
All right, so this is the last question. Security and safety. Do you believe that the intelligence funds are properly and effectively used? If yes, why? If no, what can you do specifically to use it better? In Tagalog, naniniwala po ba kayo na ang ating intelligence funds ng syudad ay nagagamit ng wasto at mabisa? Kung oo, bakit? Kung hindi, ano po ang inyong magagawa upang mawesto ang paggamit nito?
First to answer that question will be Mr. Celso Lobregat.
I am the only one among the panelists that has been mayor, and it is only the mayor's office that has this intelligence fund. I do not want to comment on the use of the intelligence fund on the present administration because there are rules that you are not supposed to criticize. So I will not answer that question. But when I was mayor, I can assure you that the intelligence funds were used for the purposes that they were intended to. I will make sure that the police, I will make sure that the military will get a good share of this intelligence fund for their intelligence work. They have their intelligence network, and maybe kulang yung pondo nila. So, by providing more intelligence fund to the organizations like the police, like the Marines, like the Air Force, like the Navy, this intelligence fund can be used for them to get the needed intelligence. Of course, the mayor's office will also use the intelligence funds for whatever intelligence information is needed. But I can assure you, as mayor, I will do what I have done, and I will do much more. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Lobregat. We shall now hear from Attorney Meng Agan.
Querido kompoblanos, mga tayong Muslimin, kung mga kaliwat. It has been a long time since we have seen lawlessness in our streets. And as a part of the Klingamako administration, I would like to believe that the intelligence funds have been used properly. Quando ba last ya tiene bomba? Quando ba last ya tiene kidnapping? Quando ba last ya tiene piracy in the seas? It has been a long time. Quiere decir, el gobierno local tadale el suporta con el mga security agents, security partners di aton para pwede man address el threat na peace and order. And if given the chance, God willing, inshallah, I will also ensure that the intelligence funds, which is under the office of the city mayor, will be used wisely and properly. Kay El Tatak Agan, hindi kurakot. That I can assure the people of Zamboanga. I have friends from the PNP, from the task force, from NAFOR-WEM, West Mincom. Let us give them, augment the support so that we can continue to live in a peaceful Zamboanga. We can sleep at night soundly, knowing that our partners in the security sector are taking care of intelligence gathering. That is very important. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our partners from the security sector for all their assistance to the city in maintaining peace and order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Attorney Agan. Let us now listen to Mr. Cesar Climaco.
Good morning again. Intelligence Fund. I was told that the Intelligence Fund is to purchase intelligence of threats to the city. But years back, I heard that's also used for rewarding your supporters. No audit. You can give somebody a $500,000 pesos, no audit. Nobody can question it. So I believe maybe it should be audited by somebody, not just given at the discretion of one person and no audit. They're supposed to give the audit to the COA, but the COA cannot even tell you what it was used for. I think all the government agencies have their own intelligence fund. The last thing I heard was that maybe the city mayor has 19 million or 19 million for intelligence fund. So I think, one, auditing. Second, maybe half it. I don't think it's just what you call a slush fund. You have a friend, you want to help, give it and tell the COA that you gave it because he gave some intelligence. So all the government agencies have their own intelligence fund. NBI and AFP, PNP, Marines or whatnot. So to me, audit it. Although I do not believe the auditing is adequate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Climaco. We shall now listen to Mr. Karim Ismail.
Maraming salamat sa mga kapulisan, Marines, Army, hanggang sa mga barangay tanod. Sila po ay nagbibigay sa atin ng kaligtasan. When it comes to intelligence funds, yes, hindi po namin ano talaga yan, saklaw or napag-alaman, pero nagpapasalamat kami sa mga kapulisan. But somehow, may mga maling-mali na gawain ng ilang security sa atin na ginagawa nilang mali ang tama. Yun ay dapat natin ituwid. Yes, I admitted that I am the one of the victim. Pero kailangan natin yun ituwid. Sa pagkakaalam ko, at sinabi sa akin ng lola ko, na si Teodora Ramiliano Gonzales, isa po akong Sambuangenyo, na ang Sambuanga na ito ay para sa atin lahat, sa Muslim, Subanon, at sa Sambuangenyo. Magtutulungan tayo hanggat makakaya natin, at ang lahat ng masamang gawain ay walang karapatan dito sa Zamboanga. Kasi bakit? Naniniwala kami, kahit sa Kristiyano, kapag binato ka ng bato, batuhin mo ng tinapay. Sa Muslim, pinaka-ayaw ng Muslim ang radical o yung mga terorismo o yung magbanta o yung maghiganti ka. So, makukuha natin ang kapayapaan na yon, God's will, kung tayo ay susunod sa batas. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ismail. And now, last but not the least, let us listen to Mr. Jabo Jimenez.
Bien imbunamente usada del Intelligence Fund del presente administración. Por eso, na aspeto de seguridad y paz y orden, bien importante el palabra continuity. Ay continua kita el programa na seguridad y paz y orden. El cosa pa kita mas debe hacer na intelligence fund, mas hace subir el pondo. We need to increase the funds, meaning by increasing the funds, aumenta kita el pondo, mas grande pwede kita dale ayuda con el diaton security forces. Mas grande fondo sila recibi, mas preparado sila combate con el mga threat que te enfrenta kita. The best example we just said in the use of the intelligence fund del December, there was an attempt que tiene un grande bomba a ser reventar na ciudad de Zamboanga, pero con este ya puede kita prevenir el diaton security forces, ya puede cuí, ya puede sacar con el bomba antes pa reventar este. Cosa pa otro prueba? Zamboanga Police Station, Zamboanga City Police Station, na entero Pilipinas del pasado año, ya conoce con este as the #1 Zamboanga City Police Office na entero Pilipinas. El diaton Zamboanga City Police Office. Ahora, ya conoce con el diaton Zamboanga City Police Office #1 in terms of Crime Solution Index. Ali tatdale mira que el suporta tatdale el gobierno local kanila, ta puede sila usain buenamente. Sabi ustedes, nuevo lang el presidente ya deklara. El diaton PNP, el AFP, necesita kita preparar con el guerra kontra ta sucede na Ukraine kontra Russia. Necesita kita preparar con este. Hindi lang kita tang kwento about the usual threat que ta imprenta kita, pero necesita kita man-improve el diaton security forces. For example, against bioterrorism. El cosa ta sucede na Ukraine, el mga bomba, bien mga puwersa, tiene mga radioactive element que ta sucede. Radiation niya ta sucede. And we have to prepare for this, ladies and gentlemen.
Muchas gracias to all our candidates. That ends our final segment for the questions for our Day 2 of Acertabota, Ako'y Matalino sa Aking Pagboto Local Candidates Forum 2022. And our question now to the listeners and viewers. Are you happy with the answers? Are you satisfied with the explanations? Are you ready to choose? Do not worry, we still have time to get to know more of our candidates, as we will be listening to them for their closing statements, and will be given 2 minutes each. And we shall start with Attorney Meng Agan.
Querido compoblanos, mga tayong Muslimin, sa akong mga kaliwat, importante el de ustedes desisyon na Mayo 9, kay ese desisyon amo pan-decide el de aton futuro. Si Attorney Meng Agan to ofrece di mi cuerpo, di mi servicio para queda alcalde del ciudad de Zamboanga. Yo kaya promete. Si dale con Attorney Meng Agan el confianza queda el next alcalde, I can promise the resources and funds of government puede devolver entero na gente, na serbisyo, proyekto y ayuda kay si Meng Agan, un abogado, un certified public accountant, hindi yo commissioner, aquel man anad man komisyon. So I can give the assurance que entero devolver el fondo del gobierno sende aton todo entero devolver na gente. I learned well from my father, Mayor Vitaliano Agan, who served for 11 years. El posisyon na gobyerno hindi para ase negosyo. Cosa ya prinsipya si Mayor Vitaliano Agan, amoyo kere continua. Un liderato na City Hall honesto, honorable, eficiente. Acorda de ustedes decisión, amo queda futuro del Zamboanga. Thank you very much, Attorney Meng Agan, número 1 na balota. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Attorney Meng Agan. We shall now listen to the closing statement of Mr. Cesar Climaco.
Good morning to all. Buenos días con todos. Anante Ablayo, government is not the solution to your problems. Government is the problem. mucho aquí, ta servir na gobyerno, mucho problema, habla sila kayo, cosas de agua, electricidad, internet, no hay lugar para quedar. Pero, ¿cuántos años sila? No hay pa sila company con ese. Por eso, di mio, compone kung mga problema, may mga platform. Si tiyan problema, man solve sa problem. So government is not the solution to the problem. Pero tin agrio kung may agan. No hay 10% na mga proyekto. The more projects, the more corruption. So, ese mga project, debe ser otro gente man decide cosa más importante para la ciudad. Hindi, el politician. El politician, por ejemplo, na Congress, na Council, necesita man solve or hacer law. Hindi, project. Now, cosa pa necesita hacer? Kita el 10% aquí na Zamboanga. Ken man aquí, swear, hindi sila sakat 10%. Si Meng Agan. Yo. No hay 10% na gobyerno. So, government is the problem. El Philippines na corruption index bien alto. So, asa kita igual como Finland, Switzerland, Sweden, corruption index bien bajo na Zamboanga. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Mr. Climaco. Let us now listen to Mr. Karim Ismail.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wal barakat. Magandang tanghali sa mga kamag-anak kong Kristiyano. Tumatakbo po akong mayor, hindi ko hinangad sa sarili ko para makapaglaban. Tumakbo po ako para makapagtulungan. Kung hindi man ako ang manalo sa mayor, sa pagiging mayor dito, hindi ako mabigyan ng tsansa. God's will na malalapitan niyo ako sa anumang tulong, mabigat man o masarap, handa akong tumulong sa kapwa kong Muslim, sa kapwa kong Kristiyano, sa kapwa kong Pilipino. Yun po ang edikain natin lahat. Mabago ang ating talambuhay. Pero papaano natin mababago yun kung hindi tayo magtulungan? Hindi natin isisisi sa mga gobyerno.
Tapidigat yun de ustedes, suporta, amor y el voto na eleksyon para alcalde de Ciudad de Zamboanga. Sana po, payagan ninyo na si Joey Jimenez kasama ng aking pamilya na nandito sa Zamboanga ay aalagaan namin kayo at proprotektahan namin kayo. El otro tan cuento por causa de corrupción, de accountability. Pero si Joey Jimenez, más antes pa, cuando concejal kita, ya mira ustedes, el pelea de aton contra corrupción. Ustedes, el llama conmigo al fighter. Este fighter, ay pelea yo, I will fight that every family in Zamboanga will have food on the table. I will fight que el dato mga jóvenes tiene quality, libre edukasyon na ciudad de Zamboanga. I will fight that our senior citizen ay recibí el mga medicina y cash assistance. Tiempo ya para cuida kita con el diaton mga lolo y lola. Esta elección bien importante. Y con todo mi fuerza, mi salud, ay garantizar con ustedes y con todo mi amor, ay puede kita hacer responsabilidad como un tata del ciudad de Zamboanga. Manjunto kita para más progreso na ciudad de Zamboanga. We have to prepare and continue to fight el diaton guerra contra COVID-19. Na Rio 9, kita lang el level 1 in terms of COVID status. Prepara kita, y mas man-develop pa kita ang mga programa para salud da syudad di aton. Let us continue to fight against poverty. Pre-COVID, benato el pobreza, ahora pa por causa de crisis, manada pamilya, no hay comida, manada bata, no puede entrar a eskwela. And let us fight, let us prepare for a fight. Igual cosa ta sucede na Ukraine para todo kita
Muchas
esta salvaw na
gracias.
syudad de Zamboanga.
Mr. Joao Jimenez. And now we shall listen to Mr. Celso Lobegat's closing statement.
Yesterday was my mother's birthday. And my message to her was, I am me because of you. Thank you for what I am. My grandfather was a mayor of Zamboanga. My mother was also a mayor of Zamboanga. And I was the mayor of Zamboanga. My record, our record, speaks for itself. Good, clean, honest government, and public service. I believe on the saying, el hombre propone y el Dios dispone. God willing, inshallah, si Diyos quiere, kung gusto ng Ginoo, I will lead by example, act with a sense of urgency, and govern with compassion. We are 8 running for the position. When you apply for position, you look at qualifications and credentials, you look at experience, you look at track record. Modesty aside, I have the highest qualifications. Modesty aside, I have a vast, solid track record of accomplishments and performance. And I have been tried and tested. So, if you already have the best, why experiment on the rest? Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have heard the closing statements of our candidates, but may we ask all the candidates to please remain at their seats and at the table for our photo ops later on. And we would now like to listen to our COMELEC representative for today's closing remarks.
To our organizers, panelists, candidates, electorate, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant noon to all. First and foremost, we would like to congratulate the organizers for a well-planned, well-organized candidates forum. Congratulations po. This is a great venue to bridge the gap between the candidates and the electorate. This helps us attain our goal of having informed voters. To the candidates present, thank you for participating. Thank you for offering yourselves to the Zamboangueños. To our electorate, here present are your candidates. Make an informed choice. Thank you and good noon to all.
Once again, thank you very much, Attorney Stephen Roy Cañete, our COMELEC representative, and our esteemed partner in this forum. Thank you very much for your support. And before we close, once again, we would like to thank those who have lent their generous support for the success of our forum, two-day forum. Of course, our panelists, Ms. Grace de la Cruz Aduca, our Attorney Honorisa Lavista, and Attorney Carl Andrew Rubio, our sectoral representatives from the FZCCSO, Ms. Juliet Tigo, from the transport sector, Isabel Rubio, Hermogenes Awid, Dalmasio Ipan, and Ambrosio Cagas. Our Kasambahay sector, Ms. May Salaras. From our urban poor sector, Ms. Jean Pilanga. From our youth sector, Ms. Hart Grace Moleño, and Berain Jaira Tigo. Thank you all so much. Again, our COMELEC representatives, Attorney Cañete and Mr. Alar. Our KBP Chapter Chairman, Mr. Belsi Agustin, and officers. Jadi Production of Mr. Jovi Ilagan, and our sponsors, Garden Orchid Hotel, Gold Life Productions, Queen Laundry, Albury Advertising Corporation, Vista de Lente, and Kobe Sound System. Muchas gracias con ustedes todo. And as I said yesterday, ya pregunta kita, ya contesta sila, ya oí vosotros. Now we ask you, with 2 weeks more to go, do you now have your choices? Ladies and gentlemen, the discussions do not end here. We invite you once again to like and follow the KBP Zamboanga City Chapter Facebook page as we bring you more responses and statements of our congressional and mayoral candidates leading to Election Day. But in the meantime, I'm Eric Basilio asking you to remember, the future of our city is in your hands and the future of your family is in your votes. Por eso, acerta bota. Muchas gracias y buenos días. May we now call on our stakeholders and our partners in this endeavor. Yes. May request our candidates to please remain seated at the table. We would now like to call on the KBP officers, our members of the panel, our COMELEC representatives, and our sector representatives to please join us in front.
City Chapter ay lleva con vosotros el Local Candidates Forum. Entendido escrutina el solución del magacandidato. JD Production, junto con el kapisanan ng mga broadcasters sa Pilipinas, KBP Zamboanga City Chapter, ay lleva con vosotros el Local Candidates Forum. Entendido escrutina el solución del magacandidato na problema del ciudad de Zamboanga. Acerta bota! Ako'y matalino sa aking pagboto. The Local Candidates Forum 2022.
We'll be having the doxology to be immediately followed by the Pambansang Awit and the Zamboanga Hermosa Hymn.